Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Bullets and Bourbon. I'm Matt Gunlock, and tonight I'm interviewing John Dara. John is the owner operator of Dara Holsters. I first met him back in November of last year at the inaugural Gauntlet match, where he's the main sponsor. He's a solid dude who has a solid product, and it reflects with everyone who competes with his gear. John, before we get started, can you just go ahead and tell the listeners about yourself a bit?
Yeah, man. I'm John Dara. I've been, running Dara Holsters and Gear Inc. for we're looking at about 13 years now. So been going on for quite some time. And yeah, like you said, the gauntlet, man, that's where we met.
Yeah, I remember like seeing your product first at like where you sponsored Memorial Three Gun and some of the other bigger three gun matches. So I've always kind of been familiar with their product, seen it gotten some of your stuff out of the prize table bags and stuff like that. But now like you're in a different you're sponsoring so a different space, something that's kind of tighter and closely represents the law enforcement military community, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so I really didn't know those types of matches existed. Honestly, that was a few years ago. John Boyette, guy that works at the shop, good friends of Sherb, and he asked about supporting some of those matches like the Rumble and things like that. And that's when I first learned about these types of matches. But otherwise, what got me into this business in the first place was a little bit of competitive shooting, IDPA, IPSC, did some action shotgun kind of stuff. So it was really the shooting sport that pushed me into this direction. So being able to give back to those guys in this community is something we see very important.
So you've been running your shop for the past 13 years. That's how long you've had the business. How long have you kind of been in the competitive shooting space?
So I started competitive shooting when I was pretty young. I used to go with my uncle up to the Wyoming Antelope Club down in Florida, shoot some IDPA and some action shotgun stuff. And that's where I got into it. I shot a little bit of three guns, some IPSC, some revolver stuff. And then I basically stopped. I had two kids,
Hmm.
moved up to North Carolina.
So
Uh,
you're from Florida originally?
I'm from New York originally.
Oh, damn.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I was born in New York, moved to Florida when I was, young, and spent most of my childhood, well, just about all my childhood in Florida,
What part?
Palm Harbor. So
Okay.
yeah, Tampa area.
Okay, yeah. No, I'm originally from like Miami, Fort Lauderdale area, so yeah, which most people can't believe that, but it's true.
Right.
I'm like one of the last white boys from Miami. I was one of 100 white boys in my high school out of a high school of 4,000 students.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Miami's a different place, man.
Yeah, I was the minority. Whenever I joined the Marine Corps, and went to boot camp, it was culture shock for me. I'd never been around so many white people in my life.
That's funny. Yeah, it's different in my town
Hmm.
in Palm Harbor. Yeah, there's a you know ritzy little spot on the coast.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, cool spot. I miss it. I try to get to the coast basically anytime that I can now. I'm over here in the Piedmont in North Carolina. So
So what brought you up to North Carolina?
my family moved here when I was young, and we, like I said, the wife and I had some kids, wanted to be around, grandparents, that sort of thing. My brother lived here, my sisters, all that stuff. So we also wanted to buy a little bit of property, and Palm Harbor. I mean, it's just
Yeah, you get half an acre to a quarter acre.
yeah, for $1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's no joke for sure. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, like I had one of the bigger yards where I lived in South Miami or West Miami, and I think we sat on half an acre, which like down there, that's a large piece of property. Like whenever my parents finally sold the place, I think in like 2005. Yeah, they sold the place in 2005. After in 2006, I went back for my brother's wedding and I just drove past where my old house was, and whoever bought it, they were like a developer. They demolished the entire house and then they built two houses on that half-acre lot.
Oh yeah, yeah, double the money and roll it.
Hmm.
Yep, it's the way to do it.
But so kind of talking about, the holsters and the company and everything, and you said you've been around for 13 years. What do you recommend with your line of holsters, based on function, like from concealed carry to competition, mil LE? What do you recommend for people to go to?
Yeah, I mean, we make a full line of products, for basically every discipline. So, and we keep it really simple, man. So it depends on what you want. If you're law enforcement, we've got a retention holster. Concealed carry, we've got a couple different ways to do that. Obviously, there's so many different body types and what's comfortable for different people. So we make appendix, strong side stuff, concealment outside the waistband holsters, the full rigs for everybody who wants, their spare mag carrier and their full size gun on their appendix. So we make everything for that. And then competition gear, full suite of belt attachments. So quick disconnects, ejection port cutout, what we call our action sport holster. So something you can bring the muzzle up out of the holster quickly.
Hmm.
And basically any way that you want to carry it. We've got aluminum drop hangers. We've got, polymer offset hangers. We've got, high ride equipment. So we've got a dizzying amount of different attachments and options for these products.
No, that's pretty cool. And yeah, I see a lot of the guys at the Gauntlet just running your stuff, and I mean, everybody seems to love it. It's rugged. It's all injected molded, right?
Yeah, so the attachments and the retention system is for sure. The rest of the holster is thermoformed. So
Okay,
it was a big flat sheet of plastic. We chop it up and thermoform it around the molds that we build in the shop.
nice. And your newest line, uh, of pistol that you just made molds for is with Atlas, right?
Yeah, I think we've done a few things since the Atlas. Staccato came out with a P4, so we've been pushing that. But yeah, Atlas is one of our newest additions for sure.
Right. And is there anything that you're working on now that for people to kind of keep their eyes on in the near future?
Yeah, so we've got a couple new attachments coming out. One of them is the DBL1, so it's our aluminum attachment like the DBL2, the aluminum hanger, except this is no rise or drop, so it's a direct belt mount attachment, and it has 30 degrees forward and reverse can on it. So it'd be cool for mag carriers or somebody that just wants a strong side holster that doesn't move on their belt, that kind of locks on there. That the control kit for the level 2, so that's like a button modifier.
Hmm.
It's gonna we've got 3 different sizes, so it'll kind of conform to the person's hand. They can customize it a little bit. So we've got that coming out for the level 2, and then we're working on the D3 kind of slowly and methodically, but it's coming out, probably looking at, I would say, mid 2026. We've been doing a lot of testing with it. We think we've got it where we want it, but it's got to be perfect before we release it.
Yeah, no, I feel that. And just because, uh, just for the sake of my knowledge and other listeners who may not know, like what is the difference between like a level 2 retention and a level 3 retention holster?
So it depends on who you ask. There's a lot of garbage going out right now, kind of pushed by a specific company that says, a level of retention is a specific function of the hand or the amount of time that there's torque pulled on the firearm in any certain direction. So um, we don't really see it that way. I don't think the rest of the industry sees it that way. I think that's just kind of something this company's hanging on to. But a level of retention, I believe to be an active level of retention. Um, typically the level one being a passive level of retention, right? So your
Your
standard,
USPSA type holsters where it just
yeah,
sits in there.
yeah, and the argument there is that it's not active retention, so it's not retention.
Hmm.
Okay. So level two would be the second level of retention. That would be an active retention level. And then a level three would be a secondary active retention level. Uh,
Okay. So like something like you have a hood, but then you also have like a thumb switch or something like that.
yeah.
Or not a thumb, but like an index finger switch to where you can have the hood down if you just wanna, if you don't need to use it and then just pull it right out, hitting the button with your middle finger or index finger, and then level three you have the hood and you have to activate with like an index finger, something like that.
Yeah, yeah, just a secondary activation. So whether it's locked on the trigger guard, Safari Land's got a couple holsters like that, or an ejection port lock, which is your more common third retention. So and you can take the hood off, and then that'll be your second level of retention. So
Okay.
that's
Yeah, no, I never really looked it up, never really knew, which is kind of why I asked the question. So no, I appreciate you clarifying that.
Yeah, and it's the levels of retention. It's not really set by any sort of organization. It's just it's a marketing thing that's put
Hmm.
out by companies that and the customer mostly understands what a level of retention is.
Hmm.
But yeah, there is no real set standard for what a level of retention is.
Okay. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. So kind of going into what I wanted to discuss. That way, those that are going to be competing in it, get some information beforehand. And I would love to do something again as we get nearer.
Mhm.
But you're putting on the Dara Invitational in November at TRC. First, when did this match start, and what style of match is it? And what brought the whole match on? Why'd you
So
decide to do something like this?
we started it last year. We just had a little test match at our private range. We had a single squad. A couple buddies came out, and we put on 4 stages, one squad, and in between stages, we had a couple staff guys just reset the range and get everything tuned up. It ran pretty well. So we had shot the tactical application shoot. The Rumble was no longer, and this was pre-gauntlet, so there
Hmm.
was not a lot of tactical two guns type matches. The tactical games wasn't really my things. A little more CrossFitty, a lot of running,
Yep.
so you
Yep.
know not something that me or my guys were really interested in doing. A couple of our guys have shot it.
Hmm.
Um, so we wanted to fire something like that up, and so we ran a little test match at the house, and this is going to be the first real match at you know good grounds, nice facility. So we're super excited about it. We've got a lot of friends in the industry, a lot of good people that kind of help us put this thing together. So a lot of support, obviously. So we're confident we can put together a pretty cool match. We're going to have Byerly's helping us out. I think he's the range master. I've been talking to Hutch quite a bit. Sherb has been helping. John Boyette's done a lot of this stuff. He's been working with Sherb for a long time. So we're ingrained in the community pretty deeply, and I think it's going to show in the match.
No, I'm excited. Like in when you say when John says he's ingrained in the community, yeah, John and his son, so far have competed in every single match. I know this next match in August, you're not going to be able to make it out because you have family plans, which is that's important. But like John attends these matches and he's a fierce competitor. Like he's up there competing in legendary division. And John's son just at the last gauntlet won the classic division. But he's going to be stepping up to heroic division, and he's 15 years old.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a little bit of argument there whether we're going to let him step up into he's 6 foot lanky kid. He's 15 years old. You know what I mean? So whether or not we want him chucking a 100 pound sandbag on his back and sprinting.
Yeah, I mean he's young, he's
Yeah,
mobile. Might be too soon to start doing all that heavy stuff.
yeah, yeah. And that's kind of where we're at with it. My wife and I have been talking, and he would like if it was up to him, he'd be in legendary. He'd be giving it everything he had, and just fighting to the end there. And he'd probably do all right. He can
Yeah,
lift up a 150 pound sandbag and run with it.
yeah.
He can move. I've got to keep him healthy till he's at least 18. You
Yeah,
know,
I feel that. No, I get that. Like, and I think it's cool, like, that he's motivated to like do that stuff. Like, you don't see that with a lot, like what we do in these style of matches and like the physical challenges. I'm not saying, kids don't want to do it, but you don't see that many junior shooters participating in these like in these physically demanding matches.
yeah.
Um, I did a tactical games, couple the most recent two tactical games I've done. One of my friends, Dirk, his daughter, she goes out there and she crushes it.
Oh yeah,
And it's phenomenal to see young shooters learning firearms manipulation and competing at a high level and walking away with a prize. It's
yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. I think Dirk and his daughter are actually going to be at the Invitational. So
Oh, heck yeah.
yeah,
That's cool.
she's gonna be in women's heavy division. So excited to see that. It's
Oh, damn. Hell yeah.
yeah, 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 pretty stoked. Yeah, so our match is definitely going to be a physical one. You know, there's going to be quite a bit some buy-in type stages where you've got a heavy physical implement to get into it. You know, quite a bit of shooting. There's going to be a lot of shooting, and over at TRC we've got a really cool facility. I mean, the shoot houses there. There's two shoot houses. It's that special kind of concrete that you can shoot at inside. So there's a
Yep.
catwalk over the top. So I think we're going to start out one stage up on the catwalk, shooting down into the shoot house, and then across the pond with some long range. I think we've got a rescue Randy in that one that
Oh,
we're looking
JK will love that.
at.
JK will absolutely love Rescue Randy.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So we won't have as many as JK throws out there, but those things are not cheap.
No, but no, that's pretty cool. Like shooting from a raised platform over a lake, into long range. That's pretty cool. So you have the shoot house, and all that, jungle runs or anything like that.
There's not really a good spot for a jungle run out there. We've got some long range bays that we can work with, but the rest are going to be more like 100-yard kind of competition style bays. So we'll work in some weight implements there, and then just competition style shooting where some different targets, not necessarily hidden like Byerly style targets or anything like that, but there's going to be some thinking that has
Well,
to go on.
yeah, and I mean, I would say, and Byerly does a really good job with his three gun and two gun matches. They're extremely technical, and like some of them are memory stages. I think if we introduce like some serious memory stages in a very physical match, like some people are going to be like, "What the fuck? Where are my targets?" Because like half the time you're just trying to catch your breath and figure out where the next target is.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. And we do plan to have a stage that's uh, basically not finishable. um yeah, sorry to tell you that.
No, well, I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, and nobody should ever walk off a stage feeling like, man, I did shitty. No, it's not that you did shitty. It's like you are trying to push yourself to the limit, both physically and marksmanship wise, and you're only going to be as fast as you're capable of going.
For sure, and if there's a stage that's designed not to be finished, it's about how far in that stage you can get.
Yep.
So
Yeah, that's the competition. Like
yeah,
the way I look at it is like, people throw out bonus targets, and it's like, okay, a
You see
bonus
how it
target,
is,
once
like
somebody
with the
hits that bonus
tweaks. You
target,
know what I
it's no
mean? And
longer a
like
bonus.
that's
Like
fine.
you
I
have
fully
to
find
hit it
that. If you
if you
want to
want
be
to be
competitive,
competitive.
then I highly
And
recommend,
it's
just like
like
you said, is
this is where you
having
see
the
the
ability to take
competition
stuff
go
off
in and
as
who's
slick
going
as
to go out
possible.
hot and try and get
Yeah.
as far as they
No,
can, or who's going to be
so
methodical and analytical and say, I just need to make it
preparing
up to
physically
here,
for this
or this
match,
is what I'm capable of.
it's a thing.
But
You
it's
gotta
like,
be if
the
you want to
point of
do
it
well,
is to push as
you
far
have
and
to
as
be
hard as you
constantly
can go.
working
Absolutely.
physically.
Yeah, it's
Um,
that's one of the things I
but
love the most about the gauntlet,
uh,
man. I think, Hutch builds stages like
what are some
that.
of the
I think
best ways for
there's
people to
usually
prepare
one in
physically
every
for this
gauntlet
match?
that's kind of intended to be incredibly
Well, I mean,
difficult
number
to
one,
finish. Like
just
if you're getting
have
through it,
some sort of daily
it's
physical
at three
routine.
minutes,
That's
45 seconds, you know.
what,
Hmm.
regardless if it's
Like
just going to the gym and prison
two
lifting, or if it's
gauntlets
CrossFit,
ago,
or some sort of functional
the
fitness,
long
or
range stage where you
military
had to
training,
pick
whatever it
up
is.
that
Like, you have to
150
have
pound
daily stuff,
sandbag.
right?
Yeah,
Like, you
stage
can't
one.
just be like,
Yeah,
oh man, I'm
stage
like a
one. You had to pick it
2 weeks
up
out
like
from the
five
gauntlet, I'm
times
going to
and move it
start,
to every shooting
lifting or
position.
whatever.
Yeah.
But
That like what
yeah,
I
too
think
late.
two people in
With it
legendary
too,
division actually
it is a
finished
lot of
that.
kind of brute
Was
force
it
Jason
stuff.
Deal
you?
being one.
I was one.
Sandbags
You were one.
are
Was
automatic
one.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
like
use a lot of sandbags.
only a few that I can remember
So
like
it's
finished that
actually,
stage.
if
It
you
was a
have the
difficult
potential of being
stage,
behind a
but it was
sandbag and
good. It was
learning
a
how to
good
pick it up,
test.
which
Like,
again, we're
do
gonna
you know
put out
your
some videos
equipment?
here shortly.
Do you know how hard you have to
Hopefully,
push in
May
order
can
to complete the
help us with
task?
that, and put out some awesome videos.
Yeah. Yeah, it
But
was a quality stage, man.
yeah,
So,
Yeah.
like learning how
using a
to
little bit of
pick
that
stuff up,
inspiration in our match,
get it
and
onto your shoulder.
this match
Another
is
thing
really
is grip strength for sure.
designed to give back to the
I would
community.
say we definitely
So many
borderline
guys building
over on the
those
kind of
other
anaerobic
matches
side,
and
because
putting on,
we have 4 minute
great
timeout
events like
stages,
that for us,
and you're
and they
doing
typically don't get to
something.
shoot the matches.
You're
Yeah.
always gonna
So
most of
we're
the
trying
time
to build,
you're gonna
and
start off
we're
with
trying to build a
physical.
fully
Okay,
staffed
you're
match.
gonna
So no
shoot.
resetting, no
Your heart rate's
anything.
gonna
You're
be
just going to
elevated.
come in, shoot the stage, hang out
Breathing,
with
all
your
that stuff, and then
squad,
you're gonna finish
and then
this
our
gauntlet.
staff
And
should
so,
be able to reset. That's the
you know,
goal. We'll see where we
like
end
I
up, but
recommend too is, like, if you're a dry
Hell
fire
yeah. No,
person and
that's
you have the
pretty cool.
ability to do something at home,
I
is
know
like,
I talking to
go
Chris
run a
this
fast
past weekend
400
during
meter,
Gen GWAT.
or
He's like,
800,
my
or get on
goal
a
is
rower or a bike
to
with
maintain
your
the
plate
title
carrier
and win
on,
this
and
match.
then
It's like go
get
do
back
it,
into your
dude.
garage
yeah,
and
that
dry
was
fire
cool,
for a
man.
minute, and then you repeat it.
We
Like,
invited him out
those are the
to the
things that
match
when I
kind
started
of
shooting
last
these
minute
matches, I
last year,
realized, like, real
and
quick,
a
is
couple
there's a
of the
big difference
guys,
between, like, my heart rate
because we
is
were
like
kind of talking amongst
90
ourselves,
or
and
100 shooting
and
a
then I told
jungle
the
run or
guys
whatever,
Hutch was
to
coming, and they're like,
like
"Damn."
170, and now I have to get behind
They
my
knew.
rifle and I have to
Yeah,
hit
oh
it.
yeah, yeah,
Their
So
heart sunk in
it can
their
be
yeah,
chest,
done. It
like,
definitely
well,
can
yeah,
be
fuck.
done.
yeah.
But
If
I
you
think
were
a big
second
thing
place, now you're
is,
third.
you
Yep.
know,
That's just how it
kind of
goes.
getting
Yeah.
you almost
Oh
have to
well. Means
tailor
work harder.
a little bit
Oh,
toward
absolutely,
that
Yeah.
style.
absolutely,
Now, I
man.
don't think you
Yeah,
have to, like,
there'll be some competition
ever
this
go
year
completely like, oh,
for
I'm just going
sure.
to do sandbags and I'm going to
And
carry
Hutch
really
is
heavy
aware.
stuff and I'm going
He's
to push
like,
and
yeah,
pull a
like
sled. Like,
I need
absolutely
to put in the
not.
work.
But
Yeah,
you have
I'm
to at
not saying he
least
doesn't have
test
it, but
those
it's not going to
things,
come easy to him for
and you
sure.
have to be able
Yeah. No,
to,
it'd be cool.
Yeah.
at
So
some
what
point,
kind
like,
of
implement
implements
them
are you gonna
into your
have in the
style,
match?
right?
Like
And I
the
saw
physical implements? Is it gonna be
there's been
something
a
like
good amount
axle
of people
bars,
that have never had to pick
or
up a
tire
heavy-ish
flips
strongman
and
sandbag that doesn't have
what's it
handles
called? The
from the
farmer carry
ground,
bars, different
and
stuff like
either get
that?
it on
Yeah,
their
a little bit
shoulder
of
or pick it up,
everything.
and
We've
then they
got
had to
some. So we had a
carry it somewhere.
sponsor,
And I saw a
First and
lot of
Flight
people fail
Athletics.
that.
So
And
actually, our neighbor
what's
over at the
awesome about it
shop,
is, like, people
and
weren't
they're going to bring all
many of
their
these people
equipment
weren't
out
pissed off. They're like, I've never done
and
that
set
before. Now
everything up,
I
and
gotta
they're going to
buy
be
one of
out there,
these
helping us
off Amazon,
reset
and
and
I
kind of
gotta
giving
start working
pointers on
with it, which I think
how to
is
move
awesome.
these weights
Yeah.
around. So
So
pretty excited
those
about
are
that.
some of
It'll be
the
cool.
things. But
They've got
I
one bag
definitely,
called the
like,
Worm. I don't know if
Oh,
you've
is
ever
that
seen
that
one of
really
those.
long bag like what you see
Yeah,
at the CrossFit games?
yeah.
Oh
So
shit.
those will be interesting. And whether or not we can get a rescue Randy, we may sub him in for
like a
one of those
zone
worm bags.
3,
Oh
or
fuck.
even like a 4,
Should
like
be fun, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm curious about how the worm is gonna be
that is
used.
definitely gonna,
So I don't
for
think
sure.
we'll, make
And
you
then
get
also
it up over
your
your
kit
shoulder.
and
It may
Okay.
be like lift half of it, above the waist for heavyweight guys and then
slung.
maybe carry it
And like
over to a drag
there's
sled and
there's a
pull
big
that.
difference
So
between having your
Okay.
rifle
yeah,
slung
it's not going to
with the muzzle
be
pointing up and you're
It's not going
carrying
to be
something a
something
long
that's
distance
impossible,
where
but it's
it
no,
will
not going to
easily
be
fall
easy.
down
not at all.
off your
Yeah,
body.
it's not going to be
Then
easy.
having it
Not
the other
every
way with
stage
muzzle
is going to be an
down
absolute
and
physical
it's
burner.
kind
It's
of
not going
hooked
to
on
be
your
like that.
pistol and you never
Mhm.
have to worry about
There
your.
will be a weight
So it's like
implement in every
unless you're
stage,
testing it,
but
unless you're doing
you're
it,
not.
you don't realize that
It's not going to kill you.
certain weight
Yeah.
elements
Yeah,
with
I still think
kit
I think the
with a
gauntlet
plate carrier
will
and like a
probably
rifle or
still be
something on
more
changes the
difficult.
way you can do
Okay,
things.
so what kind of part
Yeah.
times are you looking at keeping it relatively similar to the
So
Gauntlet, where it's like
Yeah,
4 minute part times
what we're
per
here to
stage?
talk about the team match.
absolutely. Yeah, we're expecting the
You
majority of the
announced,
stages to stay
a
within
couple
3
months ago that you
minutes.
were planning on doing
With
a
a
team
4 minute
match.
part time.
So
So
why are you doing a team
your
match?
very
What
competitive
is the team
shooters will
match
be in
going to
the
be,
high
and how
two
many days
minutes,
is this
things like
event going to
that. So
be? So
Yeah, so
what
it's going to be one day, at least
I
this
think
year.
the majority of the people who
It'll be
listen
one
to the
day
show
out
know the
at Griffin
divisions in the
Group,
Gauntlet, but what are the divisions here?
shooting Griffin Group
So we
range,
named them
whatever you
after
want to call it,
boxing
shooting
division.
Okay.
solutions, whatever
So
they call themselves
heavyweight,
these days.
middleweight, and
Which is kind of
women's
a
heavyweight. We
different
had
venue for a lot of
welterweight,
people.
and we
We can shoot a lot
decided
of long
kind of
range.
unanimously
There's a lot more
to scratch it.
space to do stuff.
Okay.
There is no
Um,
lightweight class.
Really, kind of the reason that it was created is
Go hard
there
or
was a
go
lot
home.
of people
Yeah,
asking
basically.
for a team
So,
match.
middleweight's going to be
Hey, you think
hard,
you ever do a team match?
heavyweight's
You ever
going to
do
be
anything like
harder.
this?
So those are your options.
Kind of
Yeah, I
talking
just signed
to the
up
Zoo
for it
City
today, and I
guys,
just
and
saw
as we looked
heavyweight
at it,
and
like,
middleweight. I was
hey,
like,
do we have the potential to fit
fuck.
this
All
in?
right, we're going
And
heavyweight.
like
Yeah, baby.
we kind of have the
I mean,
opportunity to do
yeah,
it. It'll
It's
be
going to be good.
the
It's
weekend
not
after
that
the
bad. I think
Memorial
we have
Three-Gun
like
match, and
max of 200
so it's like
pounds
we're
lifting.
taking
And the only time you're
all
going
the
to see 200
opportunity
pounds
to
is in
do
like a
it,
farmer's
and
carry option. It's not going to be like a
you know
200-pound sandbag.
the
right.
reason why
Oh, come on. I'll
is
bring my
I
200-pound sandbags,
I know
boy.
you throw those around,
to me
man.
it's great to test
I
yourself,
know
right?
it.
I
I
was a
see it.
wrestler, so
I
it's like
damn near killed
everything I did
myself the other day
was
doing a quick
individual based,
workout.
but you're
I was
still
like,
on a
Believe it.
oh,
team.
it
But
was
like
good
something
though.
like this is like
But
now
and people,
you're relying
people
on
are like,
somebody
man, you're gonna
else,
throw
and
your
then you
back out,
have to
you're gonna hurt
perform,
yourself.
as a team to do certain stuff.
Yeah.
And
Is
as I
there a
build this
risk
match
for
and we do
getting
things, is
injured
like
when
there's going to be
doing
stages
stuff
where
like
you
that?
have to
Absolutely.
work
But
together
a
as a
lot of it
team,
comes
or you can't
into
finish the stage. So I
how
think
have
there's
you worked
something
yourself up
cool
to
with
be able to
testing
pick
yourself as
that
an
type of
individual,
stuff up?
but also testing
Like,
yourself
I didn't just start at
as
200
a
pound
teammate.
sandbags.
And
No,
coming from
my
my
first
special
sandbag
operations
was a 100
background,
pound sandbag, and I
and
worked
we
with
have a
that for
ton
a
of
while,
special
even
forces
though it
guys
was like
here.
easy. It's
I was
like,
a
I'm going to just
ranger in the
stick with
special
this
missions
and
unit,
build
but
form and
everything's
everything
very,
else.
very
And then it
similar.
went to the
There's like
150, and
there's a
that was
lot of
difficult
team
at first.
dynamics in everything we
I got
do.
it the
And
first
I'll
try,
tell
but
you,
it's like,
is
this,
there's a big difference between somebody
it
doing
became
something as
easy,
an
and then that 200
individual
pound bag,
and
like,
they're
it
tired and
took a
hungry
little
and
while to like
hot or
really get
whatever.
comfortable. And then the
And then
250
when
pound
you
bag,
put them in a
I think it
team,
took me
and
about 3 to
then
6 months to get
they're
that
having to
200. It
either
took me
be a
6 months
leader or
to
they have to
get that up to the shoulder. And the
you know
first time I almost
be a
passed
part of a
out.
team, and you see
I did
people's
see
true character.
stars
So I think
out,
what's cool about this is like
the first few times that
now
I've
you
picked it
have
up.
to
And sometimes
perform
I
as a
still see
team and
stars,
work
but
together with somebody,
it's
and I'm really
knowing what
excited just to
your
see what this brings
capabilities
out
are,
with the
knowing
gauntlet style
proper
match.
form with
Oh,
picking them
absolutely.
up.
Like
And
some of
if
my
you don't
favorite
feel like it's
matches
going
I've
to
ever
be a good
shot
lift,
have
just
been team
drop it.
matches, especially like the
Drop it, give
physical
yourself a
types,
little bit
because
of
it's
time,
like
and then reset and go
you're
again.
either gonna
For
rise to the
sure.
occasion or you're
Yeah, I mean,
not.
you
And
gotta
then
slide into home
you
base
really
ragged, man.
you
For
like
what,
as
Okay.
a
So the guy's
teammate,
saying
if
that,
you truly care
you can
about
get
the
injuries and
team,
stuff, lifting heavy and doing all
you do
that.
not want to
The
let the other
majority of those
person
people are
down.
not
Yeah,
athletic,
And
for
and
sure.
they've got
and that is a
a lot
really cool
worse off
aspect, because
problems.
that's how you like that's when you
I've
like
been hurting
really dig
myself more
down deep,
running or
and
walking down the street
you
than I
find what
have
your
been
true
lifting
limits
weights.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I typically don't injure
yeah,
myself lifting
because
weights.
you don't
It's
want to
doing
let that
something
other person
stupid like
down.
tying
And
my
Mhm.
shoe.
so,
Yes,
I've already
Yeah,
seen, people
old
that
age
just
stuff,
yeah,
perform
yeah.
getting
in
out
the
of
last
bed.
three gauntlets, and
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm just excited
Yep.
to
So,
like see what
yeah,
can come
definitely
out of this
lifting
team
heavy
match,
is a
and
good
then with
thing.
that is,
Pushing yourself.
I have a
We're all
feeling it's
about
going
it.
to do
So
very, very well. I have a
it's
feeling
So
that,
bought us into these types
I
of.
feel like it's already very, very
yeah,
popular, and we haven't
no.
even opened the match yet.
So
Um,
how many
but
people do you
I
currently
think
have
it's going to be one of
invited to
those
come out?
where it's going to be continue to
So we
ask
sent
for, and that we
a
continue to have
large
a
email,
team
and I
match, which is pretty
think a
cool.
lot of those
So
emails went to
So,
spam folders.
Next question. So what
So
are the
we're still
divisions for
waiting
this
on. Now I've
match?
got people that are
And
like,
which
yeah,
one do you think is going to be the
um,
most competitive?
Tim was there
yeah,
and
so
shot the.
as I looked
the
at it, I
video
didn't
with
want to do
us,
it
the
with
promotional
legendary and
video,
heroic and all that
and
stuff. Is
he's
um,
going to be
I
out at the
really
match, but I don't
and
think he's
breaking it
over the
down. So
email, and
we're
I
going to have
haven't
3 divisions. So you're going to
reached
have
out to him or
all
anything like
male,
that. So there's a
all
bunch of that
female,
going
and
on where
co-ed.
we're kind of holding those
And,
positions.
with that,
And
it will be,
we've got
the
a
male
squad
won't be
dedicated
at a
to
legendary
third group.
level. It'll be
So,
more like a
Nice.
heroic
we can get
level.
some third group guys out there. Yeah, it's
Ish. Like there may
it's a match
be
that's the
some
proceeds
things
are
that are
going
very, very
to chapter
heavy, but
100.
with 2 people
So,
doing it, they
Okay.
can do it
yeah.
together. And that's kind of the
No,
intent, is not to
so
have the divisions broke
I
down by
saw
kind of how I've been doing it,
on
but
your
more of,
Instagram feed that you're
male,
doing
female, and co-ed,
invitational challenge.
which I think is going to be
Yes.
really
So
cool. And that way we don't have to like worry about like a bunch of
I'm
changing
not going to
weights
ask you
and
to
all that sort of
explain what the
stuff.
challenge is
And
because,
then with that is you can potentially have a guy
listeners,
that's a
if you want
legendary
to see
type
what it
shooter
is,
shooting with a
go to
heroic
Dara
shooter,
Holster's
and
Instagram page, and
they
it
may crush it.
explicitly tells you what that challenge
I
is. But
feel
how many spots
I
are
feel
available to make
that
it into the match through
potentially,
that challenge? And what are you looking for
I think,
specifically to
now
select the winners?
this is just
So
my hope and my
originally we had
thinking.
planned
I feel like
about
our
10,
co-ed
and
division is going
we're
to be really big.
keeping. I think we're keeping that.
I hope it would be.
Um,
I'm hoping it's going to be really
5
big. I
were
hope we
first
see a
come,
really
first
big
serve.
co-ed
We
division.
weren't sure how many of these things we'd get
And that's
in,
the
so we're
division I'm
like,
most
hey, let's
excited
call it,
for.
first 5. Those are the
Is the
dudes that
co-ed
are
is like
watching this feed,
seeing
kind of
that
come
together.
across, and
I'm
they're
sure we're going to
excited,
have
and they
a
really
good
want
amount
to be
of
there, and that's exciting for me.
female shooters and male
We want somebody who
and
wants to
I
be
think
there.
it's going to
You
be
know what I
awesome
mean?
to have
Yeah.
two female
So
shooters.
the
But I
first
think it'd be
5
really
we
awesome
opened
to
up,
see
first
that
come, first
combination
serve.
between
The
the female
last
and the male
5 are
side,
going to be
and
weighed
see how
against
big
each other
that can
in
be.
speed,
Because like you don't
accuracy.
get that in a lot of other
Yeah.
Oh,
matches.
yeah.
There's some matches out there that
So,
have it, but I think
and
that to me that's what I'm
we've
excited
got
about.
some good
That's the
ones
one I
coming in.
hope is
I
the
think
larger of the
Jesse just
divisions.
put up
Yeah, no,
a
I think that's going to be really cool.
19.8, something like
Okay.
that. But he's
I'm
not going to
looking
be able
forward
to
to
make
see
it. I
that
think he's
aspect as
shooting
well. Like one,
USPSA
I want to see
or something. Yeah.
what
So
the male pairings
Yeah, but
and how hard they
that's
go out
really
and how
all the
hard they test
questions I
themselves.
have
Yeah.
today. But is there
But
anything else
with
that
the
you'd like to
co-ed
leave the
teams,
listeners with?
it's much of the same, like how they rely
I
on
think
each
so,
other to
man.
get through the
All right,
obstacles
well,
and just
honestly, no,
continue
I
like just
appreciate you coming
battling
on. I
it.
know, like,
Yeah, for
I
sure.
hit John up, I think,
With
last
that,
week, right before I started
I
making my
know
trip
with
down to North
legendary,
Carolina.
it's
It's like, hey,
typically
bro,
like a 20
been
pound
meaning to
vest.
get you on the podcast. You
And
want to come on?
then
And it was
with
just
heroic, it's a 15
boom,
pound
boom,
vest, and
boom.
then
Like, let's
females,
record today.
it's
And
what,
that's
12
kind of how
pounds?
it all, came out, which
Females
is
is
great. Like,
10.
ten.
Yeah,
I
10. Yeah.
I
So I
like doing it like
assume
this, and it's been
my
fun,
assumption,
and
and
it's been
correct me
fun
if I'm
having you
wrong.
on,
Okay, males,
and
you're gonna
definitely
have
want to get you
them
on
like
again.
do
Yeah,
15
for
pound
sure, man.
vests, and
Yeah,
then
this is, I'm not
females will
really a
do 10
podcast
pound
guy.
vests,
It's
and
my
it'll
first one.
be
You know what I mean? So,
just like that.
yeah,
Yeah. So it's going to be
talking.
like your
And,
heroic type weights
Okay.
is what it's
No,
going
I
to
get it,
be.
but no, like,
Um,
for those of you
that
who do
way
go to the
it's
Gauntlet, don't know who
I
John
mean,
is,
like
which
if
you
somebody
should
wants
by
to
now, or
go
if you're going to go
heavier
to your
than that,
first one,
then sure.
walk up, shake his
Well, and
hand.
my
He does a
heroic is
lot for
14
this
pounds.
community.
Okay.
He does a lot for
So
the
it'll
shooters in
be
North
it'll be
Carolina,
the
the
14
third group
pounds
guys, the law enforcement guys.
for
Shoot,
heroic. Now the
Dave
co-ed
Harris,
division,
he's rocking your
it'll
product
be
now, and
14
he's going out and
pounds to the
teaching
male, 10 pounds to the
law
female, and then the
enforcement
female
agencies
will be 10
across the
pounds.
country. So, I mean,
So it
you're
will,
definitely making an impact and doing
that
good
way it
things
just
out
keeps
there. And I
everything
mean, all
like
we can say
very
is thank you.
consistent
appreciate it, man.
with
I mean, you guys
everything.
make it
So,
easy. Dave, great
yeah,
guy.
that
Love
would be
dude.
pretty
So,
cool.
it's just
So for
we're
the
proud to
co-ed
be a part
division
of it.
specifically,
So,
how are you going to split the
just
tasks
happy to
between the
be here,
male and
coach.
female division
Yeah, man.
or
No,
female shooter?
look forward to seeing you at the next one. I know it's not going to
So
be August, but
this is just
I do have
across
a
the
quick
board. So
question. Are
this
you
will
going
kind
to
of
be at the team
answer for all
match?
the divisions.
I
So
will
we're
be
gonna
at the team
have
match.
we're gonna
Hell
have
yeah.
a few
No,
As long
stages
as
that
this shoulder
are
and this knee comes back to
they're kind of
life, I'm
simultaneous.
kind of nursing some injuries
So
right now.
it's you're
I
working
feel
together
that.
as a team,
Yeah,
right? So you have
I've been stupid.
a thing,
It is
push,
what it is. But yeah, I
pull,
think
pick
I'm
up,
shooting
carry,
as long as
whatever
I'm able
that
to
you have
shoot
to
it.
do
I'm
as a
gonna shoot it with my
team to
son.
get to
Hell
someplace,
yeah.
and
No, that'll
then
be
it's
awesome
very
combo.
kind of
So I
team
gotta ask,
dynamic shooting,
well,
right?
no,
So it may be kind of like
I'll have to talk to Dirk.
two sections of a
Hopefully
stage, and
Dirk
one
and
person
his
has to
daughter shoot
shoot
the
like
team
one
match. That'd be pretty
section, and then they
badass.
have to like
Yeah, that
tag
would
in
be
the
cool.
next person,
No, but
and then like if it's
it's gonna
long
be good
range, it will
seeing
kind of be like a
it's gonna be good
leapfrog.
seeing Dirk
So it'd be like,
come out to
let's say it's
this.
like
Dirk
200,
and his daughter
300,
come out to
400,
this.
like something like that.
Yeah,
You
for
have to
sure.
leapfrog
Yeah,
it, right?
stoked
So
to
that
see
would
it.
be kind of the
A
team
couple months
dynamic,
out.
and
We're
the
doing it in the
physical
fall.
thing
Yeah.
will kind of be
And I like
doable
that. It's
enough
gonna be
that you
nice
can
and
have a
cool.
male and a
Like,
female and be able to
I don't
move
know
it.
about you, and I
If we
know
have it
we're both
where
lived in Florida, but I
they each
fucking
have
hate
to
the
do their
heat.
own
Yeah,
thing,
dude.
the female will have the female weight, the male will have the
Main
male weight.
reason
So
that I
whatever
won't be
the
at the
two
next
males
match.
are
I mean,
doing,
I
there'll be
spend my
two of.
summers,
So
my
if it's
summer
something that
weekends
like
on a
two,
boat with my
both
family,
males have to
fishing.
carry
It's what we
something.
love to do. do.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say whatever, it's a
So
100-pound
basically every
sandbag. They
weekend,
both
that's
have
all
to
I
carry
ever
a
rode in
100-pound
the
sandbag.
summertime. That's
For the COA division, the male carried a
so
100-pound sandbag, the
And you know
female
what?
carried a
That's
75
important.
pound sandbag.
Like that
If
family
that
time
makes
and
sense. So
getting
that's
away and
kind of
doing
how it's breaking
stuff
down.
oh
So that
yeah.
way,
and
again,
doing,
it's not my ROs
just getting
want
away.
to like
That's
crazy
important.
moving weights and doing all that
It's how
stuff,
you reset.
and it'll be
Yeah, for
definitely
sure.
very doable. But
I woke up
the
and my
the
kids are
kind of way
teenagers
that I'm
now,
breaking it
so
down is we will have
building
kind
this
of two
company,
styles. We'll have
some
we'll
long
have a
nights,
relay
and
style. So we'll probably
Yeah.
have a few
now that
stages
I'm
where
able to,
one partner will go with their
be
weight,
around
their
them as much as
thing.
I can, I spend
They
as
will
much time
shoot
with
the
these guys
entire
as I can.
stage. They'll come
4 or 5
back, they
years
will
left in the
tag their
house for
partner
my
in.
son,
Their
probably.
partner
Yeah.
will shoot the entire
Yeah.
stage.
Right now, like
So we're going to
my daughter's
increase. So I
11,
typically do
and I mean, yeah,
4 minute
I know
part times. We're
exactly
going to do
what you
5 minute
went
part
through,
times.
like
And
the
then
long nights
they will
and just
be,
being away, and not,
the stages will
just
be,
seeing them grow up overnight. Like,
definitely
Yeah.
very
it's,
doable where
but
whatever partner
they appreciate
can do it in
everything that you've done.
the 2 minutes or whatever, or
And
maybe
I
something
think the
where
biggest sign of
one partner
respect,
is shooting all kind of like the
that you can ever
bay
get
stuff.
from a
They come
child is
back and they tag
them
their
kind
partner in,
of
and the other partner is shooting
doing the
all long
things that you
range.
do as well.
So there'll be a couple
And it
different
shows
ways we
because
do
your
it, and
son is
then
out here
again there'll
competing
be
with you.
times where they're
That's
both
really
going
cool.
together,
It is cool.
Nice.
which is going to be pretty cool.
He's my homie.
No,
We
that's pretty
fish, we
cool, and like
hunt,
that
we
that's
shoot
that's an
competitively,
interesting
and
dynamic that
so
you don't ever get
definitely a
anywhere
good
else.
time. My
I know
daughter's
we
not
were
interested in
discussing the
shooting
leapfrog
competitively.
method between
Yeah,
long range and
just
even
yet. We go to the
stages,
range. We
a
shoot quite a
tag
bit,
shoot.
but
It's all
That's
really
how it
just
is with
good
my
stuff,
daughter.
and it's
You
good
know, like I
fun.
said, she's
Um,
11.
and just lets you to
She's
go as hard and
really
as
good
fast as
shot
you
with the
can.
rifle. Like she's
Yeah,
hitting like
yeah, for sure.
10
I think it's
inches
going to be
at
really fun to
100
see
yards with my
the
rifle.
different dynamics with
You
it
know,
too.
with pistol, I
Yeah.
bought her 22,
So
and she pokes a little
since
with
this
that,
is
and I asked
Griffin
her one
Group,
day,
and you
"Hey, do
said
you want to really,
we can get out pretty
we'll keep
far.
working on this. We'll
What are
see
you
if
looking at for
if you want to come out
distances?
and shoot
And what
competition." She
MOA
goes,
size targets are you
"Well,
planning on having out there?
but she goes,
Yeah,
well,
so
I'd
distances
rather just
wise,
be out here
and
with
I'm
you
pretty sure I
shooting
put it on the
at
practice score thing. We won't go out
at a
past
center." He's like,
550.
"Works for
And the
me."
550 minimum will be a 3 MOA target. So
But
when we say 3 MOA is like what a 3 MOA is at
look
100,
forward to seeing you
you
again
continue
soon.
to grow that
Thanks for
out
everything.
to 500, right? So it
So
will it will be
everybody have a
it
good
will be
one.
at least an 18 by 24-inch target. It'll be very big. We'll have, just like out there, they have the cement backer so you can see where you're hitting, if not larger, because I don't want it to turn into a long range match. I want people to definitely be able to shoot long range, but I don't want it where they're just down there just burning ammo, trying to hit something that's pretty tough. So I'm fine with a little bit larger targets. That way to make it a lot more fun, and then everybody's kind of getting their stuff. But 550 is as far as we'll go. And by that 550, and if we do kind of maybe put in a 600 just because of the way things are located, it will be ginormous. It'll be very, very large. It'll be something that you're going to look out and be like, wow, that thing is huge. So that's kind of what we're looking for distance wise. But just knowing for everybody that hasn't shot Griffin Group, those wins out there are crazy.
They're
And
challenging.
they're very challenging. And every stage, it would be left to right on one. The next one, it's right to left. And then you're getting it kind of at, almost at an angle, like a 270 from so out there, it's going to be, so if you're not very good at distance shooting with winds, Griffin Group will challenge you, but that's a good thing. So,
And on top of that, like this is a good plug for getting good ammo for that distance. Like this is not where you want to be shooting your 55 grain burner ammo. You're going to want to go to
yes,
the 75, 77 grain type ammo that can cut through that wind and hit your target with relative little deflection left or right whenever the wind hits it.
exactly. And again, I don't want to be a match where now there's some matches out there where if you want to be at a competitive level, you need to go buy good ammo. And I don't want this to be a match where people are going out and they're having to buy 300 rounds of 77 grain, whatever, Hornady 77 grain or whatever. But what I kind of want with this match is kind of open people's aperture up of hey, one, there's a ton of matches out there where with a gas gun you can shoot out to this distance, but there's a difference between what ammo you're putting in your gun and what it can do. And I think it's important for shooters to understand is what if I'm shooting a base stage, fine, I can run anything. But if I need to start shooting out the distance, and you and I both know I've run matches where I'm like literally counting, like, I'm like, okay, I have 5 paper targets before long range, and I'm putting in, you know, all my 77 grain, and I'm putting 10 burner ammo on the top,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, I want to run that burner ammo to that. And like, I think that's what's going to be cool about this match with a lot of the new shooters we have. It's going to open them up to this world that a lot of us have had for a long time that a
Mm-hmm.
lot of them don't get to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Now with pistol targets, like I know at Zoo City at the home range, we'll have some targets out pistol targets out to about 40, 50 yards. I'm assuming it's going to be much the same here, just some big gong that you have to hit.
Yep, same. Big gong. I think the farthest I've gone at Zoo City is 70, and it was a pretty large target. It'll be the same thing. It will. I don't want to have people out there just shooting an entire mag to try to hit something. If I do have something at long range, it'll be very very doable. But the pistol stuff will feel very much just like any of the other gauntlet matches. The rifle will definitely be a little bit different because we can kind of stretch our legs, so it won't just be one long range stage. You will be able to have more. So
Nice. So my last question is, what time does registration open? When is the match? And then, how much is the match?
yeah, yeah, good question. So registration is going to open next Friday, or I guess it's this coming Friday, which is the 18th. So it's going to open 18th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The match is going to be 200. So essentially, it's the same price as it is individual. It's just two people. So it'll be just 200. And then the match itself is going to be it's October. Hold on, kind of forgot what I think it's October 18th. Um, yeah, so it'll be October 18th, and with a couple different things with registration is the way Practice Score works is essentially one person signs up. I've created a lot more underneath it that um, so there's going to be the main person that signs up with their name, the secondary, then you put in the secondary person's name with another category for that secondary person's shirt size. And then I've put in another thing for a team name. So I think it'd be fun for people to just come up with crazy fun team names or whatever. And that way I have that under their thing so I can pull it up and say, team, whatever pants, fancy pants, one, da 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 da. And then the other thing with it too is we're going to do a top all military team. We're going to do a top law enforcement team.
Nice.
Um, you know, I've always been under the impression that they've always put military and law enforcement together, and they do have a lot of similarities, but they are two different elements. And like I respect both of them, you know, I have the utmost respect for both of them, and I'm like, why are we comparing them, right? Because especially if you're in special operations, like you get the ability to just shoot all the time and all this ammo, and that's like your job. And you and I both know with a lot of law enforcement agencies is like a lot of them get like 1 week a year to go qual, and even like some of their emergency response teams, there's a few out there that get a lot of opportunities, but it's completely different, right? And
Hmm.
so like you're going to compare like an AMU guy coming out to the local the Jacob Horton who comes out and he's on the street every day doing the thing, and I don't think that's fair. So I have done the top mill and top LEO, and then with it we're going to have a top mill team and a top LEO team, which I think is pretty cool. So,
Hell yeah. Um, Last question. How many teams are like how many spots are there available for teams? Um, like like
yeah,
like
no,
you cap the locals
good.
at like 64. What's the number for this?
So it is. So it's. I'm trying to think exactly what I did. I did. I think it's 10 teams. So I think it's 50 teams. I'm about 99% sure it's going to be 50 teams. Right around that point because as I look at it is like so I'm expanding the part time, but the 4 minute part time was when for one individual was 64 people. So
Hmm.
now I'm doing a 5 minute part time for two people. And as we look at it, maybe I'll make it 6 minutes so we can have a little bit longer stages. But yeah, so it's going to be 50 teams will be the amount out there. So we'll have 100 people at least just for the main match out there, which I
Nice.
think is going to be awesome.
Heck yeah.
And for those of you that have never shot Griffin Group, it's going to be a very special treat. It's a pretty special place for a lot of us. So it's going to be pretty neat.
Awesome. Well, that's all the questions I have. Is there anything that you'd like to add into it?
Um, no, man, I think the biggest thing that I've been trying to put out is, definitely we have the Instagram account, just it's called the Gauntlet Match. But I have recently built a Facebook community group because um, Facebook isn't good for a lot of things, but one thing it is good for is stuff like that. And so we're growing that account. And what I want out of that is, of course, I opened it, but I have some people like yourself that are kind of experts in this sort of match and experts in the gauntlet that are on there, your admins and your moderators. But what I want is to build a community behind this where people can go just ask questions like, hey, what sling does everybody recommend? What this does everybody recommend?
What kind of plate
Um,
carrier, holsters, red dot sights, you name it. Like
you name it.
all of
Yeah.
us, all the guys that have been competing for a while, we've probably used the majority of the stuff out there. And yeah, no, I agree. Like it's better to learn from the mistakes of others and get the opinions of others before you just go out and drop money. It's the buy once, cry once theory, and it's going straight to the sources for the information for how
Yeah.
do you do certain things.
1,000%. And so, that one on Facebook, it's just called the Gauntlet Community. It can be found. Actually, I think there's a link on the Instagram to go find it as well. But that is one thing I want to build, and with that it too is be approachable. To have people ask me questions, or even if it's like even if it's a concern for something is, um, you know feel heard, I guess. Now if you just want to
Mhm.
come complain because you took 25th place and you didn't put in the practice and work and you're grumpy or whatever, like, cool, I'll probably nod my head and give you a thumbs up. But if you want to come in a some
Constructive
sort of
manner.
constructive manner, and maybe ask to get better, or why we did certain things, or why I don't have a stage where I'm making you run a mile before something, which I think is silly. But those are some questions that you can have. So for really the end of this is just creating just that community, and just people knowing that either through the Instagram account or through the Facebook group is, get on there and be a part of the community. So,
Heck yeah. Well, Chris, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate everything that you're doing for the community and helping to grow the community. And I look forward to seeing you next month.
yeah, you too, buddy. It was good seeing you. I appreciate this.
Yeah,
And yeah, we'll hopefully see you and maybe Naomi come out and crush the COA division.
that'd be cool. But to the listeners out there, we hope you enjoyed this. We hope you got some good information. We look forward to seeing you out at the team match.